Well folks, welcome back to the workshop and to some more power tool repairs. So today I'm going to do a day in the workshop. I'm just going to go through the shelves out there and see what I can get fixed. Now I'm going to leave out the boring stuff, the ones that just needs a set of brushes or a cable or something like that there. Leave them out and we'll just leave in the interesting ones. So we'll start off with this one. Now don't get many of these ones in, but I do get them in quite often in Hitachi. This is the Metabo HPT. Same gun as the Hitachi one, and the customer says this one ain't sinking the nails very far, or not sinking them fully, which I guess he's telling you the truth because he's got this here set on all the way. So I'll take this out and give it a test first. Probably this one's just going to need to re-gassed. Now if you're in the States you'll be familiar with this one, the Metabo HPT, but over here it's just called Hitachi. I'm not sure if you get this one over here because Metabo is a bit confusing. You get Metabo and Metabo batteries, but then you also get Metabo HPT, which is Hitachi over here, and they take the Hitachi or Hitachi batteries. So it is a Metabo, but it's the Hitachi batteries that fit it. So it's a wee bit confusing, but that's because it is just a Hitachi gun. Everything on it the exact same, even down to the wee controller. So we'll see what this is doing first. Get some more nails in it. Now if you've got earphones on, you might want to pull them out. Well, that's sinking them. Well, they're only 50s. These are like 65s or 70s. We'll see what these are like. Yeah. Struggling with that. So leaving them proud. That means it needs a re-gassed. Not a big deal for these guns. So to do this, all you need is a compressor and a special fitting from Hitachi. This is the revalve kit, or the regulator. This is just putting the right pressure under the gun from a compressor for the gun to operate. But to be honest, you can just rig an air compressor line and just force the air in if you seal this here up. I've actually done it with the Makita gun myself. You might have to just test it a few times to get the exact pressure you need. Not sure what this one puts in, but you can do it even without it, but it might take a little bit longer. First thing you do is you want to get the pin out. So again, turn this back on again. You have to put it into maintenance mode. So hold on the power button and the nail button. Hold them down for a few seconds and that blue light will start blinking faster. So that's it in maintenance mode now. Now we just want to fire a nail without nails. So get your work surface again. Pull back your magazine. Push the gun down, pull the trigger, and you should hear the motor turn. You have to keep doing it until it fires the pin. Hopefully this one. There we go. One shot and the motor stops. It doesn't take the pin back in again. That's what we want. Now that's able to be re-gassed. Access the valve. It's just under the cover. Pull that out. You've got a wee cap up on here. M5 socket. Take this off. It's only a little plug basically, just in case any air does leak out. Helps contain it. And down in the bottom of there, there's a little one-way valve. And the fitting on here screws on, but even if you had an air line and just a rubber seal on it, just jammed it into the hole and got on some pressure, it will actually push the valve open and actually re-gas it. But it's a bit hit or miss and you have to gauge what pressure to put onto them. So the way I have, just threads on. It's easier to just take this piece off because it's kind of awkward to get on here. just because I have this taken off. There's that back on again now. I'll hook this up to compressor, to an 8-bar compressor, and that'll repressurize this to the correct amount. And you take this out, put on your plug again, and you're ready to go. Now some nailers will take more pressure. I know I done the smaller Milwaukee one, the second fix 16 gauge, and that had to have, I think it was 9 or 10 bar of pressure. These here you only need an 8-bar supply. That's because the pin is put forward, increases the volume inside the gun. So if you put it in the pressure, whatever it is, below 8 bar, when the gun starts up again, it compresses that air. So it's bigger pressure whenever it's ready to fire. But when you're regassing it, it's not as much. So this is only 8 bar, it's been fed into it. Hook it up, let it sit there a second. Then once it's fully equalized, that's it. Could not be easier. It's awkward now just getting this thing off with the regulator still attached, because you have to do it quickly in case you lose any pressure. And that's it. Make sure you put your plug back in again. Tighten her down. On your little cover. And we're ready to switch it on again. Switch it on as normal. Now all you have to do is get it to fire. Of course the problem is the pin's sticking out. Pin's sticking out the front here, so whenever you're going to push it down, pin gets in the way and the actual probe won't go the full way back. So get around that, stick your probe out fully. Put it against the timber, but only catch the edge of the probe and avoid the pin. Pull back your magazine, make sure there's no nails in it. Push it on and fire. And it doesn't shoot. It just runs the motor again to pull the pin fully back so it's actually poised to shoot. So that's it. Ready to go. So we'll leave that board there. I'll give it a wee test here. We use the same nails again. See if it now sinks them. And it is sinking them, even though I have this here fully extended. I think the depth stopping a wee bit again now. See what she does. Look at that. No bother here. That is one Metabo HPT or Hitachi nail gun, regassed and ready for work. It is pressurized inside, so eventually when they're sitting a long time it can lose a little bit. That's from 2021. So like a Paslode or something, giving them a service. The odd time, every few years, might have to just get them regassed, repressurize them so that they're at the max pressure at the back, get the full force to drive 90mm nails again. Nice and simple and nice and cheap. Now this one is very easy, just a new chuck needed. The drill itself should be working fine. I must be using this for mixing paint. It works. Just the chuck isn't working the best. Oh, still turns. He just wants this here taken off and a quick chuck fitted. So it's a fairly easy one. Get 2 flat bars, lock this back spindle with the 2 flat ends, and then you get an Allen key and a spanner inside of here, or an Allen key and a bar to actually torque off the chuck. Then you just lock on the new one. What I use is just now a couple of bars from a sash clamp. Bit tricky to balance it all. Put that in there. Make sure your drill spindle is in the middle of the vise. Lock that on. Now this is only quick and easy. The chuck still functions to a degree, so you can actually put on an Allen key. Then just get a bar there to extend it. Couldn't be easier. The threads do put on a little bit of Loctite, so as you can see there's no center screw on this here. That's just torque holding it on. And old drills like this, if it's a 12mm chuck, they're all going to be a 1/2 inch thread. They're all going to be the same. There's only a few modern drills like Milwaukee use an awkward imperial thread that make you have to buy their specific chuck. And again, use your bar again to lock it on. And that's it. One old Bosch, it's actually a green Bosch drill, a CSB 550 RET with a new keyless chuck. Now, next up is a big old Hitachi hammer. Well, relatively old, 2017. This is the H60 MC. Wee tiny short lead in the thing as well. Right, see what this is doing. Well, not a good start anyway. So this could be an armature. It's actually not running at all now. I was going to say it might be a burnt out motor, but might not be. Going with these screws anyway, and the fact she's all of a sudden stopped. If it was a bad motor, it would just run badly every time you pull the trigger. But it only runs the odd time. There's normally something else. And when you have rust on the screws and rust on the bearings, it's a dead giveaway. There we go. Not coming out. Well, that one's moving. Still very stiff though. So there's our problem. Corrosion. Mind you, the armature's still not good. She's sparking here because these were stuck. But that pattern there is from the armature. Looks a bit nasty inside. We'll see if we can get this one out. Hopefully without breaking it. There we go. Two different brushes too. A 44 and a 74. But they're both the same size. You can see that one's the same crack. It's all burnt down this side from the arcing. But all scored as well. First thing, penny file. Clean the corrosion off the brass brush holder. And both brush holders should be nice and smooth. Obviously water's got on here, got onto the brass and the brushes. Even if it wasn't running, eventually that water would have caused the brushes and the contacts to corrode, sticking the brushes in place. And of course, when the customer goes to run the machine again, it works no problem as long as the brushes are dry. It'll run for a good while. But then once the brushes don't move down because they're jammed, they'll start to spark. And because a bit of time has passed since the last time the thing got wet, the customer does not associate the bad running with the water damage, because it ran afterwards. But it's simply because the brushes hadn't moved down. They take a while to wear to make that gap. As they wear, they're meant to move down. If they're jammed, they don't move. Give them a file, clean the holders up, and then clean the brushes, put them back in, and hopefully it'll be cured as long as the armature is not destroyed. Because this can be a wee bit rough on the armature, but it shouldn't destroy it. But if we ran the thing when it was wet, that's a different story. Water will not destroy a universal motor like this. If it gets wet and dried out, it's fine. But if you run it when it's wet, that's a totally different story. That's when you'll cook things awfully quick. Now, move up and down now. Just putting on the old brushes again because there's nothing wrong with them. Once you file them and clean them, they're fine to reuse. There's plenty of meat on them. Plus, I don't know if this armature is bad, so I don't want to put on a new set of brushes just to find out it's burnt out. Now, is that a nice, sweet, quick and cheap fix? In other words, once you start, fart or pop. Well, it's in between a start and a fart. It is running, but it's sparking heavily. You can actually hear whenever it slows down, there's imperfections on the armature. You can hear it grinding on something. So the armature is just about gone. Ain't completely burnt out. So it's smoking and sparking like crazy. And shorting out. But it's bad enough that it ain't going to last much longer. Best thing to do there, give it back to running. And just say, run it until the smoke comes out the sides. Because once that armature's gone, it's not going to be worth fixing anyway. It's running, but it's not going to run for very long. Now, what's this one? Halford Special. I'll not hold my breath for this one. See if we can do anything. Nothing. Not that. Probably that. Right, so what is that going on to? That's just the brush holder. Right, so we can fix that. It's a something off one. I know this will seem like a very basic repair, but it's a very basic design. All that is just a wee spade connector going onto a strip of metal onto the brush holder. The metal is just about disappeared, eaten away, leaving nothing. It's an easy fix. Let's just put it onto the screw. That's the old spade connector there. Tin that, curl it round, and we'll put it onto the screw. Now the solder's not actually necessary. It just makes bending the wire and keeping it bent a little bit easier. That's actually this little part here the pliers are for. Putting a wee roll, wee round on it, but it was a bit fine for that. That's all we need. I'm not going to get too much of a loop because we don't want to lose too much length of the wire. That's it. It's now connected back onto the brush holder. Now it should run. There's only a wee cheap and cheerful Halfords machine, wouldn't be worth much more. Recover the plug. It should run. Well, it's either going to run or it's going to pop. Find out which. Yeah, that's the healthiest anyway. And it also doesn't lock on. A wee pin for locking it on here is gone. It's a wee part of the plastic lever. It's running, but that's all I can do. It's not really worth anything else. Gears are sounding rattly, the bearings sound shot, plastic lever's gone, and you can't buy a single part for it. So that it's just going to have to do. Might just mark then as not worth fixing, but running. Now, this one is a proper golden oldie and a favourite machine of mine, to be honest. This is the Makita 4300BV, and that's why it's a favourite. 1998. These are obsolete here, but I think you can actually still buy these in other countries. This here is just an animal of a jigsaw. Basic as hell, only just does a bit of cutting, that's it. Not even any oscillation for moving the blade. Just up and down, and that's it. Very basic, but very powerful, extremely reliable. These things rarely fail. They literally last a lifetime. Absolutely fantastic little jigsaw. Speed control, just like all older tools, is built into the switch. So instead of having an electronic speed control, a separate one, it's just part of the switch, and it's a nice simple mechanism. The switch is variable speed, so it just has a little screw on it here. So you move the screw and it actually stops the switch from going on further to adjust the speed. So it just changes the position where you can have the switch on maximum speed. So it's very basic. But very good. Gotta get these things coming in that are over 30 years old and still running. Normally it's a base or something like that there, maybe a lifting rod. The other main thing would just be the clamp for holding the blade. A lot of times boys just lose the wee screw and the wee clamp bar, because that's just held in by a screw. So we U-shaped bar that goes across the lifting rod and a screw into it. So it's literally just clamped together. This is an open hole. The thread for the screw is on the lifting rod itself. Very basic, but very reliable. Just need an Allen key to change the blade. All thing that goes wrong is what's wrong with this. It's actually broken the wee guide wheel at the front. There's a holder for the guide wheel, and it's actually worn through the wheel as well. So this just needs a little wheel. Like I say, these aren't available anymore, but I do see them in other countries where you can still buy them over there. So they just mustn't be as willing to buy machines in those countries that don't last, because these things definitely do. Let's see if I have one of these in stock. And yes, not only are they in stock, these things are still available. There's another good reason why they're so good and why I like them so much. This is the original part, pressed steel, snapped off after what, 26 or 27 years of work. Makita must have seen they had a wee bit of a failure rate, so they even improved on this. There's a new part compared to this one now. This is the new part. Solid piece of steel. Look at that. That is just for this guide wheel. 26 years of runtime was too little for Makita for this thing. And this is the proper made in Japan Makita. That's what they supply now. That's the new part. Unbelievable. Even just the guide wheel, pin through it to push on clip onto the replaceable guide wheel. You can buy that on its own too. The old one is probably one piece, or else you could actually push out this pin to replace the wheel. This one is never going to break, this here arm now, so you just replace the wheel if you need to. You don't have to replace the whole thing. So this should last this man an awful lot longer. This is also doing two jobs. It's actually clamping down the base as well, so it needs to be kind of tough. Now, what'll be wrong with that? You'll easily get another 20 years of work out of this thing. The tool you bought once, even the plug is still the original molded plug look. Another thing you don't see in modern machines, you get a safety switch to turn it on. This was a switch to keep it locked on. You don't see them in many modern tools now because they simply don't trust boys to leave it locked on anymore. These, they were going to be used for different things. Boys would mount them under a bench using like a wee scroll saw or something. So you wanted to be able to lock the thing on. Now you wouldn't even be allowed that. That's her. One guide wheel on old Makita 4300 BV from 1998. Now, next up, an old Makita drill. This is the HP 2032. I'm not sure the year of it. I don't think it's the lead anyway, because that is a brand new lead and a brand new plug. And it's also a brand new chuck. So it's been fixed up before. It turns. But something's buzzing inside. Right. See what's wrong with this one. She's buzzing, but she doesn't sound rough when you turn it. So I don't think it's an armature. Unless it's a switch or something shorting out inside of it. It's the buzzing that's kind of throwing me. Sometimes the caps can blow. I don't think they normally buzz. It's trying to run anyway, but it's just buzzing. See if there's anything hot. Don't think it'll be a switch. The brushes don't look bad. Sweet. Nice simple one. Anybody see it yet? See if we can give you a wee clue. Get it to move here. Wire's not connected to anything. Spade connector's broken. Could that be all it is? Right. See if we just replace the spade instead of replacing the lead. Alright, so this one was an angled connector. So it came over and down. Only ones I have are a straight connector. I do have angled ones, but not this size. I don't think it'll matter. I think it'll still fit in there. Now, what'd be wrong with that? Still fits, there's plenty of clearance. Just tuck that wire in. I might be able to tuck it on there now. Just have it on the back. Hopefully, that should be all it needs. Nice one. Nice wee simple one. See, that was just starting and stopping for a while. If you give it a kick or something, it might have ran, or probably thought it was the brushes or something like that. The buzz kind of threw me off. It was only just a wee broken wire or broken connection. Nice simple and cheap fix. Now, next up we've got, well, semi cheap and cheerful, an Apach nail gun. This is the L3400 34 degree 90mm nail air gun. There's a roofing gun. Not that old by the looks of it. Customer says it's just not firing. I say semi cheap and cheerful. They're not the most expensive gun in the world, but they are still repairable. You can buy the parts, but very difficult to get the parts. Not many people stock them. You might have to see if you can get in contact with Apach themselves to actually get spare parts for this. Right, we'll test her out first, see what she's doing. Yeah, so I was thinking, didn't feel right when I plunged it. It's not engaging anything. Right, what have we got going on here? Now, I really hope I don't need parts for this, because, like I say, you can get parts, but they are hard to get. They're actually an absolute torture to get. Very slow in getting them. What's going on here, though? That's something to do with the problem. Wet nails, and they're crushed. They'll never fire right like that. If you use wet nails in these things especially, big heavy spring in this thing. Put wet ones on and you slam it forward, let it slam forward, it actually just crushes all the nails down. You end up firing 2 nails instead of 1. Never use wet nails. Get rid of them for a start. Right, the problem is, she's plunging down but stopping and not doing anything on the trigger, as if she's on the bump stop or the nail stop. But that there's the nail stop. So this is the nail stop. This comes up and blocks this bar. There's the problem there, look. This is still in the way. Not enough travel to fire. This is connected all the way down here and to here, and this goes on and pushes a wee lever. When you do this here on its own, it's not actually activating the trigger inside. This has to go on to push a little door back to push down a wee bar, so it actually engages the trigger in here. Without it, it does nothing. So this ain't been on fire enough. And it looks to be sitting wrong too. Look at the state of the spring. What's going on here? Something must be bent. There's a wee roll pin missing from here, but that's just to hold this down even more. Can't be that. This has been forced up. I wonder if somebody's had this out already, because this has been removed. Yeah, I think this has been put on wrongly. That's been pushed on up here instead of down here. If I move it down, yeah, that'll move everything down. This might be a very simple fix. I'll have to find that again. Take that out. Pick that up. It's not my day. Pick that up too. I'll take this out. And it should just be a matter of putting it on down here instead of up here. At least I hope. What would that be like now? Nah, it's fine. That feels better. It's doing something now. This is just to adjust the depth of fire. We'll set her good and deep. Now she's going for the trigger. You hear the difference? Right, that'll fire now. Just see if we can get a re-roll pin for up here. Don't know why somebody took that out. Is it even needed? Yeah, we'll get one anyway. A little bit long. But longer is better than shorter. You can cut it, you can't grow it. Knock that in. And snip off the excess. That'll do the job. Give her another test out now. Now this compressor, I may have this air line on the small line. It's not got the most air pressure. So if it does sink them, it's the air line, not the gun. Right, fixed one problem. And another one. Alright, so that's why it was assembled wrong. Somebody's already opened this. Because there is another problem. Don't know if that's the problem or not, or if it's just stuff. That's just stuff. The chamber's clear, and the nail gauge clear. Nails are coming up. There's nothing wrong with the pin, unless this was just stuck. But it's hard to jam a pneumatic gun. But we have to rule it out first. No joy. Something else wrong with it. More than likely it'll be the trigger itself. If it's just leaking air constantly, you can hear the air leaking out of it. It'll be up in here. When they do nothing, normally it's a trigger. Now I don't mean this trigger. This is the part you need whenever this goes on. It doesn't actually activate the trigger itself, the assembly. It's just a lever. This bar pushes this lever over first. So there's actually something to press against to hit that. You actually get different types of triggers as well. so you can have it either single shot or bump fire. Now this is held in by 2 roll pins, so we have to knock them out. And this can come out, hopefully, because they can sometimes be tight. There we go. That looks like the problem. Corrosion. Right, give us a wee clean. See if we can get a new one of those O-rings or something similar. And give this a bit of fresh oil. See if that helps. Right, so that's all cleaned out. I've got a similar O-ring, not exactly the same, but it should still do. The rest of them seem to be alright. But this plunger here was very stiff inside of this, so that might have been sticking as well. I think that was staying in the open position, it wasn't coming back in or something. Might have been the problem. That's better. We'll give that a go. Can't imagine as much because this thing hasn't done an awful lot. Two different size roll pins. Small ones on the bottom, big ones on the top. Tappy tap. Now, give that a wee test. Much better. That'll do the job. Finish it off now. Put that back together again. I only had to take out one of these pins, just this one. Didn't have to take that one out at all. There's no real odds, it's only holding on this bar anyway. Two pins hold everything together, and two wee O-rings hold the pins on. That should hurt. That's her. One Apach nail gun, up and running again. Didn't need many parts. A roll pin and an aftermarket O-ring. As long as you get roughly the right size, it should do the job. If not, clean it out, bit of grease should get it running again. When they're this new, there should be very little to actually go wrong. It's only whenever you get 10 or 15 years old, seals in the plastic degrades and starts to break apart. Before that there, really a bit of dirt might stop it. Air guns are generally one of the most reliable you're going to get. That one, nice simple fix. Now that wee small 90mm roofing nailer's finished, onto a bigger one. Look at this for a beast of a machine. An Everwin nail gun. Now that there is a roofing gun. You even class it as a roofing gun. Where's the nameplate? No nameplate on it. This here is a 130mm framing nailer. So it'll take a 130mm nail. So you can imagine to drive that, she needs a big nail gun. Same size of handle, but a big fat ass on it. That there, that's massive. I mean, just look at it. Size of my handle. Huge. I wouldn't like to be lugging that thing around all day, especially attached to an airline. Right, see what it's doing now. Now this thing actually takes a 21-degree full round head plastic collated nail, and I don't have very many of them. They are just too small, and that's all I have of these. Not sure if this will work. Falls out here, but it does go on here to a degree. No, it's not exactly right. It'll do for a test. I ain't got the nails for this thing. It'll have to be a quick test because there's not enough in this to keep her fed. Don't try this at home. The size of this is basically going to empty my 25-litre compressor here. See if she does anything. Right, that's actually firing. It's just these are the wrong nails, they're jamming her up. I think this man just has the same problem as me. Wrong nails. That's working and it's firing. Even off my wee 25-litre 8-bar compressor, it's still shooting. Right, I'm gonna have a wee look around here, see if I can get anything bigger than these. It's meant to be taking a 130mm nail, and I'm not gonna have a hope of having anything that size. Right, got the Boss man to rate his stock. I got some. The longest we have is a 75. But that's at least a better fit. Still not right. 90 is actually the smallest these things take. I'll see what it does with them. That's working. Yeah, nothing wrong with that thing at all. Working as it should, even with these wrong nails. These are only a 75mm, but they are 21-degree plastic collated. These ones here are different again. Well, same kind. It's just a different gap basically. They're the right nails, wrong size. These are only 75mm. This thing takes minimum 90mm to 130mm. And I would say that is this man's problem. He's more than likely just using the wrong nail. He said he was going to drop in a test sample of them for me to test the gun, but he never did. Probably because he doesn't have any nails for it. And whatever ones he was using was wrong. They're a 21-degree plastic collated nail, 90 to 130. Very rare, nobody stocks them, very hard to get, probably very expensive, just like this gun. This thing costs about €1,000. I think the cheapest you can get them is about $750 plus the VAT. Not cheap, very specialist for putting in big nails. Very big, very bulky. It's an absolute monster of a machine, especially lugging that thing around the place. I actually have a gun similar to it at the house, but actually puts in, I think it's either 130 or 150mm nails, but way smaller. Wee Makita bay pole gun. Can't remember the model number of it now. Only need it all time, but way handier than this here. Instead of taking a strip of nails, it takes a single nail. Instead of just shooting it on, it just hammers it on. You literally put the nail in the front, put it against the timber, pull the trigger, and it literally just hammers the nail on itself. Way handier. Small, slow, but for many times you need something this size, it's way more practical. This thing is just too big and too hard to get the nails for, and I'd say that's this man's problem. He's been putting on the wrong one, wrong degree of nail, and the pin's just going to go over the top and miss the nail. But this is running and it's making all the right motions. It's actually fine, putting the pin out and actually marking the timber, so we know it's working. Problem is the nails. Now, last up we have a Bosch GSH11E. I was hoping this is going to be a nice simple one, but I somehow doubt it. Well, the state of that. Plus, tool holder's not opening. So this is going to look a little more complicated than I was hoping. Normally when you get ones in like this here, even with the lead looking like this, you can nearly guarantee the machine's not running. Boy might have barged it together, but I can guarantee he didn't leave it on just to fix this. He'll leave it on because it's actually stopped as well. There's no doubt he will still be running this machine even like that. See if I can just test it here without letting the sparks out. Yep, did. Right, first off, right, that's not going to come out. Not without a fight. This is probably packed out with dirt. Rise that up. Actually, down here's the problem. It's a long time since this was serviced. Look at this. Look how worn that is. Barely anything left. So that is hopefully just caked. Keep this chisel, clean all that out. That's probably the problem in there. Packed with dirt. But it's well chewed up as well, so I might just replace that one. Normally I don't bother, but that's a wee bit worse for wear. Next we need to see why she's not running. Start this end. Simply because of the lead. I used to wire it in correctly. Right, so it's not the lead, but I still do need to change that. And it's not the switch. So we'll go to the brushes. And now we'll go on to the field. Just a simple set of brushes. Nothing to do with the chewed up lead. Dangerous broken lead. There's no concern to this man. Stop because the brush is popped. Right, just change the whole lot now over here. Change the brushes, change the lead. Now we'll just change our plug too. Right, get the problem that stopped it sorted first so we can close up this base. Now give these bits a wee clean out and see if we can get a new sleeve and a cap. Fit them and a new lead. So the problem with this tool holder apparently wasn't dirt. It's a broken disc, smashed in 3 pieces. Fell apart whenever I actually pulled the spring out of it. So that's why it wouldn't open. So we need one of these two. Don't have a new sleeve. So second hand one's going to have to do. And then, most importantly, a new cable. And also just going to stick a new grommet in this as well. There ain't much left of the old one. You get it running again. I need it to hold the chisel again now. Now rebuild the tool holder. A little taste of grease. These holes just to hold in the steel balls. And also to keep everything moving. Make sure that tool holder got plenty of grease as well. We'll stick this back together. Oh, wrong way around. Teeth face down. Now this tool holder as well, it is starting to wear. The actual keyways inside are worn, not worn out, they are starting to wear away. So eventually that'll need a new tool holder now, but for now should be alright. If it were a rotary hammer, you'd be more concerned, but this is only hammer only, so it doesn't wear out as fast. See how much wear is in that clip. It's all flat on one side. Put that on. Your second hand sleeve. And your cap. Now, no bother holding or releasing the chisel. Lastly, just need a plug. Now, what does that run like? She's running, but she is worn. More wearing that tool holder than I thought. Eventually that will need to be changed, but that cost another €100 just for that. See, she's hammering here like first. She's worn, but she's also old. What is she? 2012. 12 years old. So she will need a wee bit more work eventually. The hammer's still a little bit rough up in here, but she's still hammering fine. As well, just wait. Let it run on until the tool holder eventually wears it completely. Then replace the tool holder and do the work up in the hammer section all at the same time. But for now, that's a fairly cheap and easy repair. Set of brushes, a lead, a plug, and a little bit of work on a few parts up in the tool holder. Not all that much, and not going to cost all that much. So that's her Bosch GSH11 up and running again. Anyway folks, thanks for watching. As always, hope you're enjoying the tool repair videos. Hope you find them helpful. So if you're liking the channel, give us a wee like and a follow as always. And until next time, chat to you later.